Hello guys, my name is kiminekyt and welcome to this new video, and today we are gonna be watching Repanex playing as E50M. Now, I get quite vivid memories of this tank. Do you know why? Because I absolutely hate it. This tank used to be the first time I was ever let down by buying a certain tank. Ever. In case you do not know, I'm a huge fan of German tanks, so it's no surprise that I used to play the E50M line as well. And I used to absolutely love the E50 because it is an absolutely overpowered tank, at least it used to be. It has over 3000 DPM, it has decent enough armor with like, how much, 150 frontal and pretty much like all around. The tank has pretty decent armor for a medium tank, and it's decently fast, not the fastest one around, but it's decently fast. Still though, the gun with like 3000 DPM and 223 penetration is enough to make the tank OP. And if you see it in the hands of a skilled player, it truly can be a hell to deal with that tank. So it's kinda obvious that I used to love that tank, and I expected the E50M to be semi-same. And although the majority of my buddies were telling me that this tank is complete horseshit, I decided to completely ignore them off and pretend like I never heard them. Then when I bought this tank, it took me about 2 games to realize that this tank truly is the horseshit they were saying it is. Like, it is definitely not a bad tank, as we will see in this replay, because the Repanex will truly show us that this tank is capable of doing a lot. But in comparison to the regular E50, this thing is kinda lackluster all around. Well, let me begin with one thing. This tank has the same amount of armor, and only has a bit more HPs than the E50 to attune for the tier 10 matchmaking. It is a tiny little bit faster, well, tiny little bit is like 1/4 faster than the E50 for some reason, but as a trade-off for getting a bit better mobility, it actually gets a considerably worse gun. It no longer has the 8.8 centimeter gun that the E50 gets, and instead of that, it gets a 10.5 centimeter gun. This 10.5 centimeter gun does have almost 70 more penetration, going up from 223, which is semi-decent at a tier 9, actually that's pretty bad, all the way up to 270, which is great. It also gets more alpha damage, going up from like 240 up to 390, but it does lose 400 DPM. This tank is in line with a lot of heavy tanks on this tier. And back in the day, if I'm correct, now I might be lying here, but I do have a feeling like this tank used to have about 2200 DPM. Because I do remember that people used to meme about how this tank has worse DPM than majority of the heavy tanks. So yeah, let's just say that this tank's gun is considerably worse than E50's gun. At least tier to tier comparison, it is considerably worse. Anyway, currently we are barely 3 minutes into the game, and our hero was able to what the hell am I even talking about? Either way, the Repanex was already capable of carrying his weight through this game, because he was already capable of dealing over 2000 damage, which is roughly the same amount of hit points that this tank has. Right now, he's however on his quest to finish off the last remaining opponents on this flank after he pretty much dealt with all of them. There are just 4 enemy tanks remaining, there we go, make it 3, because you are just right now capable of killing the UDES 14-5. There is the enemy defender, a super broken Soviet tier 8 premium tank, but it's definitely not gonna be all that powerful in tier 10 matchmaking, that's for sure. Well, technically speaking, 90% of the tank's frontal armor is pretty much an auto ricochet, so it probably should be able to stand its own, even against you. Although the E50M is actually a pretty tall tank, so you will be able to shoot down on its frontal plate, which will remove some of the angling, and you should probably be able to kill it rather easily. Either way, the Projecto 46 was able to escape your shell by the skin of its teeth. Well, you won't be able to dodge a second one. There we go. The defender is right now for some reason trying to cross this ridge line and take a shot at your team, which doesn't make any sense, don't get me wrong. I do know that you want to engage the enemy team, but it was a terrible mistake and you're gonna pay for it with your life. By the way, here I want to point out one thing, and that's that the main strength of this tank is the fact that it's one of the most powerful rammers in this game. It is a decently heavy tank, which is also pretty fast. and it's decently heavily armored, so it does deal a shit ton of damage when it rams you. However, we are barely 5 minutes into this game, and both the teams are reduced down to just 5 players. The catch is, however, that you have 3 tier 8 players, and the enemy team has 3 tier 10 players. So we can see who is kinda winning here. Despite the fact that both the teams are down by 5 players, down to 5 players, the enemy team is definitely winning here, with more top tier tanks. Well, soon enough they are gonna lose a tier 9 tank, but they probably won't really even up the odds all that much, because your team is seriously on the back foot. Majority of the enemy team is, however, camped up over here in this spot because it is a ridiculously broken spot on this map. Well, it is not a broken spot because everybody knows about it, but it is a pretty damn good sniping spot if there are not all that many light tanks in the game. It is pretty annoying to get constantly shot, like when you are trying to go over this place, this part of a map, is really annoying to get constantly like sniped from this spot. And over here we can see a moron in his natural habitat. This, by the way, kind of weird thing about like the European servers. For some reason, whenever I'm playing on a European server, I see these kinds of people just shouting at everybody how bad they are. Why are you doing it? Well, thankfully this guy is not really flaming in his native tongue, which is kinda typical for European nations to do. I get no idea why everybody... Well, actually, it kinda makes sense for you to actually curse in your native tongue, because majority of the games do have profanity filters set up to English language. And if you will start cursing in your native tongue, it will obviously cause you to kinda like bypass the profanity filter and not get banned. This guy, however, is cursing in English language, and it's very unlikely that he's gonna get banned. Also, and nothing wrong against people from these countries, but is it just me, or is it always either Hungary or Poland that are flaming this much? Like, nothing wrong against people from those countries, but why is it always you two? Come on, man. Right, and I'm back. Sorry for that little interruption over there. There we go, your WZ was just able to spot the enemy Jäger, but it was a tiny little bit too late for a convoy, and the enemy Jäger was right now able to just finish off the convoy. You decided to take a shot at the enemy 60 DP, however you weren't able to really connect it up. Second shot maybe penetrated it, maybe not. We don't know so far. Either way, from this spot you won't really be able to shoot at the enemy team all that much. And they are right now rushing into your cap circle, seeing as you kinda got the enemy cap circle in your hands. So, some of them will probably try to defend it, whereas some of them will try to probably cap your cap circle. We can already see that the WZ is going on a spotting mission, and he doesn't see anyone. That's kinda surprising. Is seriously the enemy team just standing in this place and hoping that no one comes into the cap circle? It doesn't really make any sense, don't get me wrong. Either way, your WZ was already able to spot the enemy 60 DP, and maybe, just maybe, the Centurion will be able to finish it off. Although it's quite unlikely, because the 60 DP is a pretty decently powerful tank, and oh, there is the enemy TVPT 5051, which decided to defend the enemy cap circle. Will he be able to take it down without taking any damage? Oh, yes you will. Yes you will. So far you took only, how much? So far you took less than 100 damage throughout this entire battle, and even that damage was dealt to you for ramming the defender. So, yeah. The Centurion AX is currently still going on in the chat for some reason. Man, why the hell are you flaming this much? Don't get me wrong, it doesn't make any sense for you to be flaming this much. You were a tier 10 tank. You got killed, and you killed just one single enemy tank. Don't get me wrong, you should have been carrying this game on your back, being the top tier of this game, but you did nothing and just died. Seriously. Well, technically speaking, the Foch, neither did the Foch. The Foch could have done a lot more, but he didn't. He kinda just like died, and that was it. But he probably had an unlucky game. You actually had a decent enough game, and you still didn't do anything. You actually killed somebody, and you didn't do anything apart from that. You probably barely pulled your own weight for this game. Either way, there we go. The Centurion 5-1 was able to spot the enemy Jägeru. Hopefully he won't be able to kill him. There we go. The WZ, if I'm correct, was able to spot the enemy E75 as well as the enemy 6 DP yet again. You have a pretty clear shot at the E75. There we go. Second shell into him. You somehow manage to ding your heat shells against him. I got no idea how that happened, but it did. You decide to not take your chances by shooting at the side armor of the Jägeru, because he's mostly behind the hill and it's quite unlikely that you will be able to actually kill him from this angle. Instead of that, you decide to take a shot at the E75 and bounce yet again. There we go. Yet another shot and a terrible low roll, which will probably cause your Centurion's life. The Jägeru is currently turning around at the Centurion, and will he be able to kill him? Maybe the Centurion is at 65% of his... Oh, well... he's not alive anymore. He's not alive anymore. And the WZ is still trying to take off pretty bold moves against the enemy 60 TP, although I think that in a couple of seconds he's gonna be dead as well and is gonna leave you in this 1 versus 3 situation. But maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to do something before he dies, although I'm not quite sure of that. He was able to deal some damage to the enemy 60 TP. There we go, he took a shot at the enemy Jägeru. WZ is 1 shot away from dying. Will he be able to kill the enemy 60 TP? There we go, another shot into the Jägeru. WZ managed to kill the 60 TP. Oh man. That's not a sight you see every single day. Either way, the Jägeru is still trying to close up the distance with your WZ. Probably spotted or something, I got no idea. There we go, yet another shell into his side armor. I got no idea what the hell is that guy doing, just rolling over this field, pretending like there's no one shooting at him. Seriously, what the hell is the Jägeru doing? He just took how much damage? 1,600 damage. Am I right? Yeah. He took 1,600 damage just because he rolled over an empty field like that, pretending like there's no one shooting at him. Don't get me wrong, but that was a pretty damn stupid idea. You don't really have the game in your bag. Really. WZ wait. What should he wait for? For death? He's gonna be dead either way. Our hero won't be able to kill the Jagdbender from this angle. He can pretty much choose to either kill the Jagdbender or the E75. He chose the E75 as the Jagdbender does have a bit more armor, and in this spot, in this moment, I didn't feel like he's even gonna be turning around, which means that he's gonna be angled at a decent enough degree to bounce majority of your shells. So it was actually a pretty smart idea to go for the E75. There we go, the Centurion AX is cheering in a chat. By calling our hero moron. Don't get me wrong, this guy has 10,000 damage. I would kinda doubt about you even having 2,000 damage. Right now I'm actually quite curious about how much damage did this guy deal, because... Come on man, you're making yourself look like a moron. Either way, the enemy Jägeru is like 2 shots away from death at 609 hit points. Am I right? Yep, I am right. There we go. 1 shell into him. He's down to a single shot away from death. However, you are down to your last heat shell. Right now, I probably wouldn't thread the needle like this because, yeah, he's gonna bounce it. He was just trying to pass the ridge line. If you waited a couple of seconds more, or just engage onto him, he would be forced to either back off from that ridgeline or go over that ridgeline, which would give you a pretty decent shot at him. However, he decided to thread the needle, shot that shell, and you are down to just 8 high explosives. But give me a second, why do you have 8 high explosives? Is this like one of your first games in this thing? Don't get me wrong, but 8 high explosives is a bit excessive. It's a bit too excessive. Seriously, it's too much. Anyway, the Jägeru is still trying to close up the distance. I got no idea why the hell is he trying to do that. The E50M does have definitely a considerably short reload than the Jägeru, so it doesn't make sense for him to try and close up the distance like that. There we go, 1178 damage. Another shell into Jägeru, and he managed to absorb that entire shell. You still got 6 shells remaining. There's almost no chance he will survive through all of them. There we go, 71 damage. He's 60 health. He's at 60 health. You need just 1 more shell, or just deal 13 damage. That's the other option. But now he's one shell away from dying. Come on, come behind him. There we go, and he is dead. G freaking G. And in the post-game stats, we may see how much of an amazing game this was, as Repanex was able to deal over 10,000 damage as well as kill 7 opponents, but sadly he was capable of getting himself only 4 medals in total, out of which only 2 were a bit more rare ones. But now to the most important thing of this video, laughing at this Centurion AX. Bro, you barely dealt those 2,000 damage. Seriously. I do have a feeling like a Centurion AX actually does have a bit more hit points at 2000, like 2200. I do have a feeling like you weren't even able to pull your weight through this game. Seriously. And you were in tier 10 tank and tier 10 matchmaking. The Foch was incredibly unlucky, as we might see over here. He pretty much just got one-shotted by somebody as soon as he spotted him, but you have no excuse for being this bad. Really. In a detailed report, we might as well see that our hero certainly did not waste premium ammunition, as he was able to earn 76,000 credits in a tier 10 game. That is actually not all that often that you see this amount of credits earned in a tier 10 game. It's actually never. This is one of the highest amount of credits earned in tier 10 game that I've seen ever. Either way, I'm gonna end this video a bit earlier. I could be talking a bit more about this replay, but I'm gonna end it a bit earlier because of the fact that my budgies are kinda waking up and I actually had to make a bit of an interruption in the middle of the video because of them already. So before they all start screeching yet again, I'm gonna end this video. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.